deep in the suffocating green hell of the Guyana jungle, where the air hangs thick with humidity and the constant drone of insects never stops. A dream of paradise twisted into an unimaginable nightmare. On November 18, 1978, more than 900 Americans died in a single day. Not from disease or accident, but by poison on the direct orders of one deranged man, Reverend Jim Jones. Parents forced cyanide-laced flavor aid down their children's throats first, screams mixed with Jones's calm, recorded voice urging revolutionary suicide. This wasn't just a mass suicide. Many now call it mass murder, and at its dark heart was a burning obsession with betrayal and revenge. Jim Jones didn't start as a monster. In the 1950s, he was a charismatic young preacher in Indiana, obsessed with death from childhood, holding bizarre funerals for roadkill, animals, and preaching to empty chairs. He built the People's Temple on powerful promises: racial equality, social justice, a better world. In an America torn by racism and inequality, thousands flocked to him, especially black families seeking escape from segregation and poverty. The temple grew fast in California, drawing idealistic followers with free food, community care, and fiery sermons against capitalism. But behind the utopia, cracks appeared early. Jones staged fake cancer healings, extracting tumors that were actually chicken guts. He demanded total loyalty, confiscating passports, money, even forcing sexual submission while claiming to be above desire. Defectors who dared speak out faced threats. Jones raged about enemies and traitors, vowing they'd pay. Paranoia consumed him as media exposés and concerned relatives closed in. In 1977, facing investigations, Jones fled with over 900 loyal followers to a remote jungle clearing in Guyana. He called it Jonestown, their socialist paradise free from American oppression. At first, letters home glowed with pride. Fresh food, no racism, equality. But isolation turned it into a prison. Armed guards patrolled. Loudspeakers blasted Jones's drug-slurred rants day and night. Exhausting labor, meager rations, and terrifying white nights. Suicide rehearsals where everyone lined up to drink fake poison. Jones, now heavily addicted to barbiturates and amphetamines, saw conspiracies everywhere. Defectors were the ultimate betrayal, and he promised revenge. The betrayal that shattered Jim Jones came swiftly. In November 1978, U.S. Congressman Leo Ryan arrived in Guyana to investigate reports of abuse and imprisonment in Jonestown. Many followers were his constituents trapped far from home. Ryan's delegation, journalists, concerned relatives, and officials landed at the remote airstrip on November 17th. At first, Jones put on a show, smiling residents, stage performances, delicious meals, but whispers spread. Secret notes slipped to reporters begged, "Please help us get out of Jonestown." The next day, as Ryan prepared to leave, the facade cracked. Over a dozen residents, including entire families, loyal for decades, stepped forward demanding to defect. Jones's face twisted in rage. "Traitors!" he seethed. One loyalist attacked Ryan with a knife, slashing his arm. Though the congressman escaped injury, the air thickened with dread. Defection was the ultimate betrayal in Jones' paranoid world, proof that his enemies were closing in, that his paradise was crumbling. Back at the Port Kaituma airstrip, two small planes waited to ferry Ryan, the defectors, and media away. But Jones had already unleashed his revenge. A tractor-pulled dump truck roared up, loaded with armed guards from Jonestown's elite security force. Gunfire erupted without warning. Bullets tore through the crowd. Congressman Ryan fell first, shot point-blank multiple times. NBC reporter Don Harris, cameraman Bob Brown, photographer Greg Robinson, and defector Patricia Parks were gunned down in cold blood. Others writhed wounded on the blood-soaked tarmac as the attackers fled. Survivors hid under planes or played dead amid the chaos. Jones, monitoring via radio, declared victory over the betrayers, but the ambush sealed his fate. Authorities would soon descend. In Jonestown, his voice boomed over loudspeakers. "The congressman has been murdered. They've betrayed us all. It's time for revolutionary suicide." Paranoia turned to apocalyptic fury. The final horror was about to begin. As the sun set on November 18, 1978, Jim Jones' voice echoed through the Jonestown pavilion one final time. Slurred from drugs, trembling with fury, he announced the end. "The time has come for us to meet in another place," he said. "Death is not something to fear. It's a step into Freedom. Armed guards ringed the terrified crowd of over 900 men, women, and children. No one would be allowed to leave. Nurses filled a large metal vat with grape-flavored flavor aid, then stirred in cyanide and Valium. The poison turned the liquid a sinister purple. Jones ordered the children first. His twisted logic. Parents would be more compliant once their babies were gone. Mothers and fathers, some weeping, some numb from exhaustion, held their infants as syringes squirted the deadly mix into tiny mouths. Within minutes, the first children convulsed and died. Screams pierced the humid night air. Adults lined up next. Some resisted, begging for mercy. Guards forced them forward at gunpoint. Others drank willingly, brainwashed into believing this was revolutionary suicide against a world that hated them. Jones ranted on, claiming planes were coming to torture survivors, that defectors had betrayed them all. His revenge wasn't just against the outside world, it was against anyone who ever doubted him. The audio tape rolling that night captured the horror in real time. Babies crying, then silence. A woman pleaded, "I don't want my children to die." Jones snapped back, "Stop this hysterics." Another voice, "They're all dying." Over 300 children and infants perished first. Parents followed, collapsing beside them. Some were injected against their will. Bodies piled in twisted heaps under the pavilion's dim lights. By midnight, the jungle fell eerily quiet. Only a handful escaped into the darkness. Jim Jones himself died last, a single gunshot to the head, likely fired by a loyal aide. His paradise had become the largest single loss of American civilian life in history until 9/11, when Guyanese troops finally reached Jonestown on November 20th, 1978. They were met with a silence more terrifying than any scream. The jungle clearing that Jim Jones had promised as paradise was now a graveyard. Over 900 bodies lay swollen and decomposing under the relentless tropical sun. Families clutched each other in death, parents wrapped protectively around children they had poisoned. Moments earlier, purple residue-stained mouths and cups littered the ground like deadly confetti. The official count, 919 dead, including 304 children. It remains the greatest single loss of American civilian lives in a deliberate act until September 11th, 2001. 7 people survived the poison by hiding in the jungle overnight. A few others, including Jones's sons who were away at a basketball game, lived to tell the world what their father had become. Investigators found Jones's body slumped in a chair on the pavilion stage, a bullet wound behind his left ear. Debate continues, suicide or ordered execution. His nurse, Annie Moore, lay nearby with a suicide note claiming loyalty. Millions of dollars in cash, hidden in drums and suitcases, were scattered around the compound. Money taken from followers who had signed over everything. The world reeled in horror. How could so many intelligent, idealistic people follow a madman to their deaths? Jones had preyed on the vulnerable, the poor, the searching, the dreamers, promising equality while demanding slavery. His ultimate revenge wasn't just against defectors or the government. It was against life itself. In his warped mind, death was the final control, the ultimate act of dominance over those who dared trust him. Jonestown became a warning etched in history. Charisma can hide evil, loyalty can blind, and paradise promised by one man can become hell for all. The tapes still exist. Jones's voice calm as children died around him. Listen if you dare. But remember, the real horror isn't just what happened in that jungle clearing. It's how easily it could happen again.